start of a new reading year, and I wanted to share with you 24 books that I want to read this year. Hey bestie, and welcome to my channel where you'll find all things cozy, reading, tech, productivity. So if you like those kind of things, so stay a while. But I wanted to share a list of books that I really want to read this year. Most of them are physical copies that I currently own, because I really want to get through my physical TBR and try not to buy really more books this year, just stick to what I have. But I know that some of the books on my list are a part of my wish list that I would like to read, so I'm hoping to get to. But let's get started with the first one that I want to read. The first book that I would like to read is Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. Is actually, I'm hoping to read it next. It's the first book of the Mistborn trilogy, and if you're wanting to get into the Cosmere, Brandon Sanderson did recommend starting with Mistborn. So I've been so excited to get into the Cosmere universe of his. I read Trust of the Emerald Sea last year, which is a standalone, and I loved it. So I wanted to get into more of his work. So Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson is a definitely must read for me. The next read I really want to get to is Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. This is the first book in her trilogy, Poppy War trilogy. I've read Yellowface by R.F. Kuang as well as Babel, and I love those books, and I definitely want to get into this trilogy. This is the first trilogy that she has ever written, and I've heard that it's really dark war, it's high fantasy, and I'm really excited. I've heard even people have cried, like have really gotten teared up because of what they read in this book. Next book I want to read is River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. I read her Divine Rivals duology. I'm actually in the middle of Ruthless Vows, which is the second installment in her Divine Rivals duology, but this one I definitely want to get to. One of her more adult fantasies, while Divine Rivals is her YA fantasy. I've heard nothing but good things. I heard it's just whimsical fantasy, and I love those kind of vibes, so I'm excited to get into this duology. And I've been really having a thing for duologies because I feel like I feel more accomplished just finishing series if there's just 2 books. Another one on my list is Vicious by V.E. Schwab. I've honestly purchased so many books by V.E. Schwab's, and I have not read any of them, and I'm excited to get into her work. I've heard nothing but good things. This one is like more like high fantasy, dark, like villains origin story, I want to believe, but so it really enticed me to just pick this up and read it. I'm hoping to get to it soon. Next read would be Iron Gold by Pierce Brown. This is the second portion of the Red Rising series, so this is the 4th book in the series. This is 10 years after the 3rd installment, which is Morning Star. I've loved the Red Rising series, so I just wanted to continue in his series. I believe right now there's 7 books, and it's going to be 8 books in total. No, I scratch that. There's currently 6 books right now, and there's going to be a 7th one. I want to say maybe this year or next year sometime. So I definitely want to continue the series. I love the Red Rising series. They're like my top favorite sci-fi fantasy series. Definitely recommend reading it if you're wanting to try sci-fi out, but Iron Gold is definitely on my list. I am super excited for this run, and it's Brandon Sanderson's The Way of Kings. I've heard nothing but good things about this book. It is a thick book, so it's like over 1,000 pages, so I'm actually kind of nervous to get into it, and it's super thick, so I'm just like, oh, maybe I should get the Kindle version just to help me like read it, but because look how thick. But I'm just excited to get into it. I definitely want to read the Mistborn series first and then Way of Kings, so I saw that was kind of like the reading order that you should go by, so it might be later on this year that I'll read it, but I'm super excited to get to this. Another book I want to read is The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. It's fantasy. I've heard it's cozy, whimsical, almost like little I want to say it was like childlike storytelling. Not like childlike, but like very nostalgic, I want to say, because I was recommended this by my sister. She said it was really good, very whimsical, love the story, and I was like, I really gotta check it out. And I've also seen other reviews that is nothing but good, so this is definitely a good, definitely a read that I want to check out later this year. Well, sometime this year. The read is Encyclopedia Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett, and I realized the second installment is going to come out, I want to say this month, January, or next month. So I definitely want to get to this sometime soon. I heard it is like cozy fantasy, like not really high stakes, but it's really cozy, it's fantasy, whimsical, and I just love those kind of stories. So I really wanted to check it out, and I love the cover of it, and I also like the paperback too. I was tempted to get both, but I was like, no, just get one. But I love, when I saw the cover, I was like, I really want to check it out and read this story and dive into this story. Next up is Jade City by Fonda Lee. I believe this is urban fantasy, very high stakes, found family. I am so excited to get, like, I'm honestly excited for this whole list. Just gonna say that right now. Jade City, I've heard nothing but good things, is a trilogy, and I definitely want to get into this really soon, because like I feel like I'm missing out by not reading this book. It's a thick book as well. It's like, I think it's over about 500 pages. Another read, like I said, I wanted to buy more V.E. Schwab, so I purchased A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab, A Darker Shade of Magic trilogy. I recently purchased, I'm gonna say, her newest installment, which is the fourth book in the series, and this one, I believe it takes years after this trilogy, so I wanted to read this trilogy before I get into this book. But I was so excited to purchase this because it was a Barnes & Noble signed edition, and I felt like it was the last one, so I felt like I was never going to see that again. So I purchased it, and I was like, well, might as well start with this trilogy first. I have been wanting to read The 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. This is a romance. I want to say it's like second chance romance. Actually, yes, it is second chance romance. It's about two writers that have been actually reconnected years later, had a fling when they were younger, and then reconnected years later, and they were actually writing love letters or writing messages in their books for all these years, and I felt like that is so cute. I definitely wanted to dive into more POC authors this year. That is definitely my goal. I have been wondering if I should just read it for Valentine's Day, because you know, it's romance, everybody's gonna be in a love mood, so this is gonna be like my romance read of this year or next month. Another read I want to get to is The Spirit Cuts Through Water by Simon Jimenez. I've heard nothing but good things. I feel like I am going into this blind, because I'm really not sure what's it about, but it says two warriors shepherd an ancient god across a broken land to end the tyrannical reign of a royal family in this standalone epic fantasy from the author of Vanished Birds. And that is another reason I wanted to get into more standalones, because I'm in so many series that I just want to get to. So a good standalone I feel like will be so fun to finish, and it's high fantasy, which I love. Another read I want to get to is a romance, and it's Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. Now this is definitely second chance romance. This is about a couple that unfortunately they are getting divorced. However, sometime later they rekindle their love, try to make it work. They're co-parents, and I definitely want to check this out because I don't see a lot of stories where it's like second chance romance where they're all like divorcees, I want to say. So I feel like I definitely would love this kind of story, and I wanted to get into Kennedy Ryan's work because I heard it's so good, heard nothing but good things. My next pick to read this year is The Blood Trials by Annie Davenport. I have been dying to read this duology for so long, and I'm not gonna put it off for any longer. I want to read it so bad. It is fantasy, sci-fi fantasy. It is about a young black woman must survive deadly trials in a racist, misogynistic society to become an elite warrior, and I felt like I'm gonna have a good time. I want to get into this duology so bad. I've heard nothing but good things about this book, so I'm hoping to read it sometime this year. If you have read it, let me know what you think. But yes, The Blood Trials, oh, I'm so excited. Next read I want to get to is The Sword of Kaigen by Emma Wang. I've heard nothing but good things as well from this book. I believe it's a war story, so it's really high fantasy, but during a war. I have it on my Kindle, so I really want to get to it this year. I've heard nothing, like with all these books, I've heard nothing but good things, so it makes me even more excited just to get to it. A mother struggling to repress her violent past, a son struggling to grasp his violent future, a father blind to the danger that threatens them all. So that's what this verse says. And when the winds of war reach their peninsula, will the Matsuda family have the strength to defend their empire? So it's nothing but good, 5 stars, like good ratings for this book, and I'm so excited to get to it. I want to read Weyward by Amelia Hart. It actually was awarded the Goodreads Choice Awards in 2023. So ooh, I believe this is more like a witchy vibe of book. It has 3 point of views. One in 29 is a woman in 2019, 1619, and also 1942. So it's triple point of view. So I find that really interesting, like weaving together the stories of 3 extraordinary women across 5 centuries. Oh my goodness. Ooh, this is definitely like witchy vibe fantasy, fall fantasy. So definitely gonna get to this. I feel like this is such a good fall read. I know it's early in the year, like who knows if I'll get to it like soon, maybe, never know. The next read I want to get to is Raybearer, Jordan Ifuko. This is a duology, a YA fantasy, which is we are following Tarisai, which is our protagonist. It has always wanted a family, and she is taxed by an absent mother known as the Lady. The Lady sends her to the capital of the global empire of Artisar to compete with other children to be chosen as one of the Crown Prince's Council of 11. So I feel like I have been eyeing this book for so long. I've heard nothing but good things, and it's being adapted into a television series. So I feel like I love to read books that are adapted into series, like movies, just to kind of compare and get more in depth storyline from the book, so I understand the book even more, the movies or TV series even more. So super excited to get to this. Yes, I have been wanting to get to The Will of the Many by James Islington. It is the first in the Hierarchy series. I don't know how many books there will be. For sure there's going to be a second book eventually. I'm guessing it might be maybe a trilogy, but I've heard nothing but good things over TikTok. It is a young fugitive uncovers layers, mysteries, and world-changing secrets in this new fantasy series. And I've been trying to get this book for a while. It's like sold out everywhere. I can't get my hands on it, and I have been wanting to check out my local library to see if maybe it will be there, or else if I can't get it, I'll get it on my Kindle. But this is a book that I have been dying to read. So I have been wanting to read Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I have been seeing that it's going really popular on TikTok, social media. I've been like, I don't know, because I tend to steer away from books that have, like, even though I've seen a lot of my list is recommended on social media, I do want to do my further research and see, is it really good before I dive into it. My sister read it and she said she loved it. It's really good. It's going to be a trilogy, and I believe the Powerless is the first one is Powerless and the second one is Reckless, and I want to say it's coming out maybe this year. Is it? Yes, in July of this year. Ooh, so maybe I'll hop on it. So I definitely want to get to the final Strife by Sarah L. Arafi. This is the first installment in the Ending Fire trilogy. I've heard nothing but good things, and it looks like individuals have different types of blood in this world, and it depending on their blood type is what kind of like where they fall into society. So red is the blood of the elite, of magic, of control. Blue is the blood of the poor, of workers, of the resistance, and clear is the blood of the slaves, of the crushed, of the invisible. So we're definitely gonna get into some really high fantasy in this. Like I said, I've heard nothing but good things about this, and I have been wanting to read her work because she's all Sarah L. Arafi is also coming out with a book named Faebound, and I believe it's coming out at the end of this month. So these are 2 books that I want to get to by this author, The Final Strife as well as Faebound. Next read is The Adventures of Amina Al-Sirafi by Shannon Chakraborty. I'm sorry. I have been eyeing this book as well. I believe it's going to be a series, but we are following this woman that has come out of retirement to go back into her career of being a pirate. So I love strong female leads in books, especially that this one is much elderly. I want to say maybe she's in her 40s, 50s. So this is different from other books that are like just following an 16-year-old, 18-year-old. Okay, last on my list is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. I have been having this book on my TBR for the longest. I really want to get to it. I don't have the physical copy because it's such a thick book. Every time I buy thick books and I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna buy it on the Kindle because I have a kid, so it's gonna be hard to hold my kid and read a thick book. So I've been wanting to read this because it's dragons. I love dragons, and that's all I know about this book. Just, it's pure vibes, dragons. And I believe there's this book and also another book, but it's a prequel of this. I forgot what it's called, but I'm gonna just leave it up here and see. But so many good books this year that I'm excited to read. Hopefully to get through all my physical TBR, because that is my goal, to really get through my physical TBR. Because I need to get, when I have so many books on my shelf that I haven't read, it really overwhelms me. So I really want to just cut out buying, just read what I have or borrow from a library. I have been dying to go to use the library more. Those are really my goals for this year, and that is my 24 books that I want to read in 2024. I want to hear what kind of books you recommend. What books are you wanting to read this year? And if you like this video, stay a while, subscribe, and I'll see you next time, bestie.